go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Unit 1, 2, and 3 are melted and wastelands till the end of time. You can never clean them up. And we have been forced to endure the media equating man-made radioactive nuclides with bananas, with water, with walking in the sunshine, etc., etc. Hang on. That looks okay. Volume's really low. And that's for art. David, Ellen, asteroids will destroy the world next week. There we go. David, just in case it don't, we'll keep going. Wannabe, 24 Live, Diamond, Dog, Fukushima Revelations, Candace, Basic Data. Woo! I got everybody in tonight this morning. And this is my last ditch effort to work with this equipment. And audio and video seems good. David. No, we just started re-ramp. And that's for art. So we are in quite a quagmire. I can turn this up a little bit. Maybe that'll help if anybody's having a few issues. Because I know that... Never mind. Wirecast got me literally tortured. So let's keep going. And PBS. Miles O'Brien is out saying that it can't reach North America, but it's filling up the ocean. So how can you have those... how can you posterize by saying that, well, it's hemorrhaging out into the ocean non-stop from 3 melted reactors. And so it's not like it's just a plume went into the ocean and then it got a little straight line and made its way across the ocean. You've heard that story, right? Over and over and over. But what happened, it didn't stop hemorrhaging out. And so if you, once again, took St. Paddy's Day, every St. Paddy's Day where they poured dye into the river in history, and you done that all non-stop in the same river, do you think there's going to be an effect? How about if you don't stop, you put 1,000 pounds of dye in a river till the end of time, or in our case 1,100 plus days, and how can you say that the plume is traveling here or traveling there when the plume never stops? It just never stops. And nobody's trying to stop it because the media keeps equating it with bananas and walking in the sunshine. And yet they get up in the media and say it's serious, but they got it under control. Who? The homeless at Fukushima that are working there, that are shanghaied? Please. It's simple. If you're watching or reading mainstream media and they use keywords that include anything containing potassium 40, it's time to switch off because everything's got potassium 40 in it. Everything. Of course, everything on Earth has potassium 40 in it. So why is it in a conversation about ionized elements? Is that an accident? Are people really that friggin' stupid that they can't, tell the difference between man-made radioactive material and insignificant, indigenous? I know I keep repeating the same words so I can really drive the point home to the point where you're like, oh, I don't want to hear no more, Dana. I get it. That's what I'm trying to do with you. You catch one of my shows or 2 of my shows or 3 of my shows and you're an adversary, you're a full-fledged activist all of a sudden because it resonates that, if you don't know this stuff and you happen up on this, why the hell is this guy making such a big fucking fuss? Because that's necessary. Somebody has to do that. The media can't come out and contradict itself of 70 years of lying to you and come out and tell you the truth someday. They become a conflict for every other media out there and their history. They got to keep telling the lie. They can't stop telling the lie. That's all they can do is tell the lie. And they got to come up with innovative and new ways, like licking your iPhone charger from the idiots at WIP in New Mexico, Carlsbad, the waste depository, and then say that they're worried about americium. I'm worried about the uranium because 97% of the fuel is uranium-238, not fucking americium, which is a byproduct of the chain reaction. And you're putting it a half a mile underground because it's harmless, insignificant background radiation. You evacuated WIP a month ago because you had a truck fire. And for 9 days, you couldn't go back out down this gigantic repository for the most toxic shit on this planet because you had a truck fire. For 9 days, you couldn't go back down there. And then, oh, we can't go back because there's a radiation release on Valentine's Day. Oh, we were going to go down and get that truck today too. Right? So they lied for 9 days. And you didn't have a chance to get out of the way. Your children didn't have a chance to stay home and avoid the plumes. They obfuscated everything about it. They delayed telling you anything for 9 days. Oh, we found trace particles. And then each day the lie got a bit bigger and a bit bigger because we put a lot of pressure on them. To the point where they come out and call me a conspiracy theorist. And I'm not. I'm a researcher. Big difference. If I try to do a conspiracy theory, I'll be destroyed. You know, it'll be used against me till the end of time. Radon is another red herring, as it is also is normal radiation found at insignificant levels throughout Earth. I typed all this up a couple of days ago. It is used to scare homeowners, and I posted up on the Fukushima Hound chat room, which is not got nothing to do with me. I got an account there. Well, it's got something to do with me, Eric. But I didn't start the site. I don't run the site. I've never met the people that are running the site, except for on the live chats here. And they're running a chat room. And you can find a link to Kate, who articulated a video a couple of days ago about Fukushima to simplify it. And it's just wonderful to see that happening. Radon is a red herring. It's used to scare homeowners and then update the innocent with radiation is everywhere mentality. How many homeowners have ever died of radon gas? How many times you say, honey, did you go check the batteries in the radon detector? Never. But it's used to obfuscate the significance of what it is. They terrorize you and you got to pay money, you got to get testing, blah, blah, blah. They only want you to test so they can find out if there's radiation in that area that they can use to make weapons with. That's their way of aggregating it, getting everybody to test for deposits of precious metals. And that all goes into the big PSYOP machine known as your academics. Your academics have failed you every way possible. In March of 2011, when this accident at Fukushima happened, every institution, you know, like Harvard and Yale and Berkeley and MIT and Stanford and Oxford and the Commonwealth Club and Berkeley, all of these big shot, these big shot academics. And they lock up 4,800 peer-reviewed academic studies that your children produce, where you get your children go to university. That's free labor. Your taxes is to pay for all the equipment to do tests for the or peer-reviewed academic studies for the military-industrial complexes. And then the three biggest publishers out there, Elsevier, Springer, and Wiley, they get the copyrights to the majority of the 4,800 peer-reviewed academic. So that means other institutions had to do the exact same experiments that you paid for those institutions. You paid for the expendables, the heat, the lights, the tenor of the. You're paying for the land, and you're paying for it because you're helping this machine destroy itself and everything, not itself, I guess, but everything else. Well, yeah, it's the people that work there. They're destroying themselves. They don't get it. It's not the people that are working there that are necessarily going to be the bad people that are doing administration or telephone, and they don't know. They really don't probably never get the significance of what's happening at the publishing. I mean, 3 publishing houses got 20,000 of the most prestigious publishing facilities on the planet, and they get the copyrights to your peer-reviewed studies from your universities that you pay for. That's why you don't know jack shit. That's why you got to listen to the words like bananas and sunshine. I don't know, as I just keep on rambling. And Fukushima had a serious event, 4 melted reactors. But wait a second, you know, they say everything on Earth here is here because it's genetically superior and because it's acclimated to natural radiation. That's insignificant. It's got nothing to do with anything. What was a comment on Miss Milky's video? Have you ever seen a banana mutate a fruit fly? Not help it produce, but make it mutate, right? So the radiation from a banana is homeostasis. And if you ingest it, which you do, because it's in your clothing, it's in your food, you off-gas that, is for lack of a better word for people to understand. So in other words, if I got a glass of drinking water with 7,500 becquerels of potassium 40, which is many times what a banana is, and I drink it, I off-gas 7,500 becquerels. The body doesn't know it even happened. It's that insignificant, right? I'm afraid to click on pictures after my experience with Wirecast last night. But a banana is not radioactive. It's not going to mutate flies. And food is not going to... Walking in the sunshine, that's radiant. That's not man-made radioactive nuclides. That's not cesium and uranium. You're not ingesting sunshine and gee, you know, I got to wear a filter because sunshine is so friggin' dangerous. No, everything on this planet is here because it's acclimated to sunshine and bananas or rocks. The entire universe has the same elements, except Earth is unique. Earth has man-made radioactive elements, and they're not produced by the suns or the supernovas in our universe anyway, that we know about. They're not in our periodic tables. There's nothing on this planet can withstand a beating from a tiny 1/10,000th of a millionth of a meter particle atoms from escape from a chain reaction meltdown. In particular, they're much more volatile and carcinogenic. Let me make sure everything is going good on the... Because it don't sound like I'm hearing crackling in my earpiece. Still got delayed audio. That's okay. You ever hear tell those weapons where you shoot a delayed audio at somebody they can't talk? Ha! Never met me. From a tiny 1/10,000th of a... Okay, well that's okay. That don't sound like it's cracking up. Is that cracking up? Hi, Reram, Nuts, Basic, Lunar, MSVS, Sergeant, and anybody I did. And so we haven't got no cracking. Let's keep going. Let me jump for a second. Marine expert on MSNBC. Months of uncontrolled radioactive releases from Fukushima, a problem for the ocean. Radionuclides are building up in the food chain. It's a health threat to America. Not likely if leaks ended soon after 3/11. And they didn't end, right? It's just like St. Paddy's Day. It ain't never going to stop. And if we don't put our foot down, then it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse for us. TV, after seeing that map with massive amount of nuclear waste headed to the West Coast, there's going to be an impact. Well, see, what you're looking at on the screen are based on a single release from Unit 1 and just a couple of days, right, into the ocean and just a single event into the atmosphere. The atmosphere continued unabated for 7 months. They got homeless there working on it. And dead man tells no tales. You had 7 people in Fukushima Prefecture in a community on a single shopping street drop dead. Do you know of another street out there where you can tell me that 7 people had died on that street while walking and shopping on that street in a short period of time? And if it did, would you want to live in that street? No. And he hushed it up, covered it all up. Now we got cracking. Ooh, this can't be good. Yeah, they don't like those pretty pictures. And maybe I better not touch nothing. Hang on. I'm still cocky. This is whip. You can see the banana. I blew it up a little bit and shoved it in there. But that's from the whip repository. They put that up on TV. They put that up on TV. I've never seen a American TV show a radioactive fallout model breaking up. Brutal. Let me come back up here. Maybe I can't handle 2 pictures. How sad is that? Let's go back to that one. Let's see if the audio settles down. If it is, then I can only handle 1 picture. Oh, I don't like the sound of that either. Let's keep going. Government other breaches at Fukushima flowing into the Pacific. October 21st. My audio is breaking. I guess that's what's going on. Fuck. So my audio is breaking up there, guys. Sergeant says it's good. Has that changed at all? Best stream in a long time? Okay, let's keep going. I'll just keep the chat room open. You guys let me know if there's some stuttering going on there. When a nuclear apologist creator spots easy prey, this is PR firms, or has provided a platform, they get straight to work. Their job as a nuclear lapdog is to throw insignificant terms into the nuclear equation to confuse and distort normal true background radiation with killer man-made radiation by constantly repeating the same keywords. They just won't leave it alone, see? And that's why you're at the point where you can't take that anymore. You can't put up with that anymore. You can't sit back and allow that to happen anymore. You can't justify ignoring this anymore. You got to put your foot down. You got to stand up and get counted. And you get counted by getting back in their faces and say, hey, that's friggin' wrong. Imagine if 1 million people emailed Ken Buesler or Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. Do you think they'd be shoving out the banana routine anymore? If everybody sent them emails, say, fuck off with the bananas. Fucking stop it. Everything I watch belong to you out there. You're talking bananas and sunshine and drinking water. By the way, the EPA now got 7,400 becquerels in your drinking water because of Fukushima. Listen, you can't ignore it. I mean, NOAA chart is based up on Unit 1. The yellow one there, that's based up on Unit 1. Single release. It released every day, non-stop. It blew up. The site detonated. It friggin' detonated. Everything is wrecked. It's friggin' wrecked. And you can't, just walk away from this and say that this is not an issue. You had Chernobyl's 28th anniversary. Should have a picture on the other side. Let me see if I can change that in real time, just out of curiosity. Yep. No. Oh, yeah. And hopefully there's no bad audio. Let me keep going. The viewers and readers have all heard for 70 years how man-made radiation is like bananas from mainstream media verbatim. Did you know if you eat a banana, you basically, in layman's term, off-gassed that potassium-40? It's homeostasis. Homeostasis. And it regulates your body with natural radiation, like a thermostat regulates the temperature in your house, or cruise control regulates your car speed. And I have to do this all the time. I have to come out and apologize in every friggin' episode, in every show, because of what these people are saying. I can't have a debate with somebody till I make sure they're informed. It's ridiculous. That's why the shows usually take an hour, because it takes a half an hour to, just in case people are watching and don't know any better. I got no choice. That's what this is all about for me anyway, is educating as many people as possible to make sure that, and I think this resonates. I've seen it in my personal life repeatedly. They're like, really? Yeah. This holy shit. That's not very hard to digest. Like potassium-40. It's not hard to digest. Not going to hurt you. Not going to screw you up. Let me keep going. Go watch any video of a nuclear apologist. They usually only do interviews at night after the sun goes down, because sunlight can destroy their credibility. Let me see what I got over here. So they like to hang out and come out in the dark. That's the best. Once darkness descends, you'll hear them say, your drinking water has 7,500 becquerels of natural potassium-40 in it. So having 1,200 becquerels, a kilogram of man-made ionized cesium-137 in your food is cool. It's fucking trendy. But potassium-40 is irrelevant. Once again, it's homeostasis, and you off-gas it as you consume it. You can't get any more in your body. Your body has a limit, and that's just the way it works. GMO might be able to engineer that the fuck out of you. GMO, genetically modified, they're creatures too, critters. Same as nuclear apologists and PR firms, they're critters and creatures. I mean, they're scary. You wouldn't want to be on the same street, have one of those friggers living on the street with you. That would freak me out. I'd move out of the neighborhood immediately. I'd probably move out of the city if I thought there was one in my city, a pro-nuclear apologist who's in the media and writing articles and everything. I think that these people are fucking demons. They're the actual demons. Because that's what man-made radioactive ionized elements are. They're demons, all on their own. If I get cancer, if I ingest a radioactive hot particle over 10 or 15 years, I'll get cancer. A tumor. That's what the body does. And it attacked it immediately and continuously for the rest of your life. And ended up using up all your resources, making you tired and lethargic all the time. Because your body's using up all these resources, it's flooding out the white blood cells and displacing your oxygen molecules, and that makes you weaker, right? More susceptible, more vulnerable to illnesses and engineered pathogens, which, you know, the EPA, your Environmental Protection Agency, in 1981, when they hung the shingle outside the door, said, hey, you know what? There's 65,000 chemicals. We're going to grandfather them all in with no environmental or human impact studies. Right? Fuck you. But then we're going to barbarize you every time you try to do something. But you can take those 65,000 chemicals, take 4,000 of them, and put them in a fucking cigarette. Because we shifted them in there with no with grandfather clause, no environmental human impact studies. Is it moral to put 4,000 chemicals in your cigarette? Who the fuck woke up one morning and said, hey, I got a great idea. Let's put 4,000 chemicals in a cigarette. Somebody else like, hey, let's put filters on it. Make the particles smaller. They'll get through the liner of your lungs, the liner in your brain, your membrane, and cause more carnage. Yeah? Who the fuck woke up one morning and thought up that shit? And who said, agreed, I second the motion? And then why is your universities and institutions doing academic and peer-reviewed studies at a phenomenal rate to link to nicotine, to cancer, when there's 4,000 chemicals? You know, ask yourself some simple questions, for fuck's sakes. and take back what's yours, what you're entitled to, what you have to fight for. The minute you let somebody else deal with the important things in your life, they'll fuck you up. You get the mentally retarded executives and global corporations, corporate personhood. You allowed corporations to take the slavery laws, an amendment to the Constitution for the slaves to protect the slaves from an oppressive government, and you allowed corporations to put an amendment on that, the slavery law itself, and give them corporate personhood, and they use that amendment to take away the solvent of the solvent people, to give themselves rights. And at the same time, they can come into your community, and the banks won't give you a loan. Say if a big coffee shop come in your community, the bank's not going to give you a loan. That global corporation is there. Oh, yeah, we got a coffee. We got a Starbucks, Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts here. And so what are you going to end up with? You just put out all the mom and pop operations. And you're drinking junk. Just the cups themselves are carcinogenic, for goodness sakes. They're not from only the bisphenol, but all the other material they put in that piece of cardboard to stop the liquids from getting through. It's asinine. It's not only bad for the environment, it's horrible for you. It could be the best coffee on the planet, the best milk on the planet, right out of the cow's tit. You can get sugar or honey from the bee's ass and put it all in that fucking cardboard cup, and you fucked yourself by using it. Just putting your lips on the cup with nothing in it, you hurt yourself. And you can pass that on in your gene pool. And keep going. So if you ingest man-made radiation, it causes your body to destroy elements. They are completely different in every way. It instantly attacks you. It sequesters in your organs and bones. Your body tries to entomb it, and you call that a cancer tumor. And as long as it's putting out energy, and it can for hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands and millions and billions of years, depending on the radioactive elements, and the majority of it is extraordinary long life from the ionized uranium-238s. Energy, your body has an autoimmune response to it. So even if you just ingest a bit, your body has an autoimmune response. It floods white blood cells out, attacks this frigor. And the EPA now includes it, 7,400 becquerels, a cubic meter in your water. But Woods Hole is down there saying they can't detect a couple of becquerels. So how can you have 7,400 in a cubic meter, and then all the institution says, oh, it's not here, we're only finding a few becquerels. But don't worry, because you're allowed to have 7,400 becquerels. A man-made, ionized death. Why is that allowed in your drinking water? Why is that a standard? Why did the EPA, just grandfather in 65,000 chemicals, no environmental human impact studies, and, in 1981 when they hung their shingle out, and not go back and retroactively say, hey, by the way, this is fucking carcinogenic. Don't put it in pacifiers for fucking babies. Okay? It's okay to use it for other applications, but don't be fucking putting it in shit people pop in their mouth, like food and other stuff. Why? Why did they continue to let them do stuff like that? Why can't... there's equipment out there that'll test for 65,000 chemicals and tell you whether it's there. So not like they don't know what they are. You can actually, sniff and find out what are the 65,000 registered chemicals. And then you want to deem, think about, skip Fukushima for a second. You go down and walk on the beach, and you flip over a rock, and if the fisheries and forestry and land management is anywhere near it, they'll fucking tase you. They'll definitely get in your face if you flipped over a rock. But there's logs slamming into the coastline all the time, shifting those rocks, tearing the fuck out of that place. Every day at low tide and high tide, that's going on. But you're a bad fucking person if you go down there and fuck around. Yet Fukushima, the aerosol coming over your community, you think about the urethral peroxide sulfur buckyballs. And there's studies down below about that. There's also a study down about Health Canada and how Health Canada flew along the coastline and found snowstorms of this stuff. That deposited over months. A snowstorm that never went anywhere for months, but you can't see it. And you can't taste it. You can't fucking hear it. You can't feel it. And you better fucking wake up soon. And you can't get out of the way because nobody's going to tell you. But you paid those people to tell you. You paid those people to do a fucking job. Not to fuck you over. Not to fucking leave you stranded. Not to take care of their own. You paid them to fucking tell you to get out of the way. Lock up your friggin' house. It's bad, folks. It's coming in. Japan fucked up. We got to deal with it. No, fuck you. Because it won't show up for 5 or 10 or 15 years in brutal cancers. But the problem was there was so friggin' much. There was so much and it's still hemorrhaging out of there. It's friggin' non-stop. These radioactive particles, by the way, what you see in the center is my take on what that study down below is trying to tell you. I can show you. Let me see. I got it there. On the left hand. That's from the study, right? And so the particles can get inside, like the bottom picture you see, the buckyball, like a soccer ball with a little ball, red ball inside of it. Well, that's what happens is the particles and the atoms get inside of that. And that becomes like a little nuclear engine. It's not soluble in water. It's reliberated constantly. It's like the dust in your house after you cleaned your house perfectly, open your curtain up on a sunny day, and you see this tiny microscopic dust. There's no way to collect it. Well, think of something way the fuck smaller than that, but it's a nuclear engine. When it gets inside you, it's pushing off energy. Your body attacks it. I think about ingesting 10, 15 of these every day for months. But the damage is not going to show up for 10, 15, 20 years unless you eat all kinds of GMO, genetically modified creatures. The worst thing imaginable, the most demented thing imaginable is genetically modified, what they call food, but they got rid of all the nutrients. They left little tiny particles, bits. I mean, I get beat up all the time because I say they engineered it all out. I say there were 6,000 parts per million of calcium in a corn. They left around 100 parts per million, got rid of the rest of it. I say it was around 3,500 parts per million potassium in a corn. Well, they left around 100 parts per million and got rid of it. They done that with all the iron, the cobalt, and all the natural nutritions, micronutrients that you would find in your food. And they also engineered into the very DNA, the very structure of it, toxins and dioxins. And the two worst ones are the glyphosates and the formaldehydes. They stop you from uptaking nutrients. Not that there's any in that, but there might be in something you're having with it. Right? Because most people get a mix of food, they might actually get some good nutrients, and they actually engineered it all out. It's a war crime against the entire planet that the GMO fields have to leave a section, a refuge for the insects to gravitate to escape. And you can't wash that off. That's into the very DNA. You will always hear the good old nuclear apologists say you will get more radiation from a dental or chest x-ray, or we all live in a natural radiated environment. Well, it ain't natural any friggin' more. That natural ceased to exist about, when you start doing the bomb testing. Think about those bomb tests. That nuclear bomb in Alaska and Nevada and all these other states, what happened? They blew up a bomb. It goes up 5 or 6 miles, and those radioactive particles, whatever way the wind is blowing, for 1,000 miles for sure, is getting a good dose. Radiating the land, the streams, the lakes, the rivers, and at the same time, they're saying Iran's going to get a bomb, blow something up. They got 49 bases around Iran, 49 military bases around Iran. What the fuck are they going to do? Dress up like a camel and sneak out through the desert? And then what? Even if they don't get a bomb, what are they going to do with it? You think they're going to lob that one away? Please. There's thousands of bombs waiting to go at them. Nuclear bombs. But in a fair fight, they could probably beat anybody. They got 9 million. And they're crazies too, right? Because of this nonsense that's going on. You force these people to be desperate by putting 49 military bases and engaging in cyber warfare. Every time they threaten Iran, for instance, that's meant to make people talk to their resources and get their plans in straight. And they're eavesdropping, trying to figure out where everything is to and who's who, building a network. Cyber warfare. And it's 49 bases. You're paying for that. And if I had 49 bases around my country, I'd feel fucking threatened. Okay? And that's what they were doing. They were threatening me at the same time. And they're full of nuclear weapons and biological and chemical weapons. Our whole ideology, like Israel is the sixth biggest. They dropped down, I guess, a little bit in order to make themselves look a bit better. The sixth biggest weapons producer on the planet. This little tiny country that didn't exist 60 years ago is a part of a fucking stupid book. That book calls for the end of the world. You believe in the Bible. You believe in the end of the world. You believe that, only the people in Jerusalem gets to go to heaven. You believe that we're insignificant. We don't go to heaven. Or if you believe in the Bible, then you think you're going to go to heaven. But you're not. Only the ones in Jerusalem itself, when it all goes down, that God will come down, the whole world will turn against insignificant, stupid fucking country, full of idiots from everywhere else that couldn't get a job serving French fries, and go down there and get a free fucking ride. All you do is create 5 million refugees permanently, and you can get everybody to hate you in no time at all. You're nothing but a fucking wart on this planet. And that's like the nuclear industry. Hey, I know what people are going. They're going to use that to beat me up. 5 million. How many Israeli refugees are there again? Fucking none. 5 million Palestinian refugees. And the rest are living in a toxic wasteland where Israel fired 25,000 155 millimeter depleted uranium rounds, uranium-238, directly into family homes, family cars. They dropped these big fuckers with a 900-foot kill ratio in the middle of neighborhoods. They phoned everybody, texted everybody, said, get out of your house, we're going to drop a bomb. And then when they were outdoors, they dropped one right down in the middle of the neighborhood, 3 football fields, a hole. And then they dropped white phosphorus on top of their fucking heads. You talk about a demented fucking society. That's because that's all they do down there is make weapons. How can you have a future when you're the biggest weapons producer on the planet? How can you have peace? Why would you want peace? You make all your fucking money on misery and agony and imprisoning a population. What they're doing is way worse than what happened to them. It's unbelievable what they've done. How much they destroyed it. They pushed everybody into other countries. All those refugees. Million in Jordan. They got no water. They got no fucking land. And the million refugees got no ID, got no school, got no education, can't hold a job, can't get a pension, can't buy a fucking land. For a greedy bunch of fuckers to come from all over the planet and go into the middle of a place and become a weapons producer and a shit disturber. Fuck them. Scum. Remember, the ocean is not that big when you take into context. Every day, 300 tons of radioactive water is hemorrhaging into the Pacific. 300 fucking tons. That's 600 1,000-pound trucks full of dye poured into the ocean. That's a truckload of dye with 1,000 pounds of dye into a 4,000-mile river a minute. You think St. Paddy's Day is pretty cool, right? That ain't 1,000 pounds, okay? Let me get something straight. That's not 1,000 pounds of dye you're looking at in that. So imagine that every minute, more than that, of radiation. That if radiation worked like dye, this is what you would see. Every minute. The Americans fired 2.5 million rounds in Iraq of uranium-238. That's supposed to be in a sarcophagus that the NRC says nothing to worry about. We take care of it. Nuclear power plants put on your husbands and wives and sons and daughters that are working there are fucking monsters. They're friggin' monsters. Your university professors are monsters. Your nuclear university scientists and academics are monsters. The institutions that allow that to happen are fucking monsters. They know it's got nothing to do with bananas. They know it got nothing to do with walking in the sunshine. They know it got nothing to do with dental x-rays. You're ingesting radioactive hot fucking particles. You're getting an x-ray every second of your life till the end of time. It's that big of a fucking difference. And when they cremate you, you liberate it. And if somebody ingested it, they're going to die the same way. It's not supposed to be in our universe, let alone on our planet. You're not going to find these radioactive elements on Mars or the moon or coming out of the sun. It creates elements. We destroy them. It's not supposed to be here in our universe. And the license agreement recognized that originally and said they would keep it in a sarcophagus. And what they done was they just unhinged, went out and dumped it into the ocean. And they didn't go to specific spots. They had to get it off the boat at a certain point because it's dangerous. You see those great big fucking casts? You think they put mined 2,000 feet under the ground for something to do? Because it's harmless, insignificant, normal background radiation, and that most dangerous thing down there was a truck that caught fire. They can never go back. If it wasn't for that truck fire, we could have got a lot more radiation down there. Like, I really dislike these people. I got no respect for anybody that's willing to lie for a paycheck like that. Willing to lie for academics, for accolades, for a job, for a tenor, or for to work for institutions, or to help cover it up. And there's just a massive network of companies out there, PR companies, and your mainstream media is just a PR company. That's all it is. Its job is to sell a product, drag you in, show you the product, get you in with a movie, get you in with a little sitcom, get you in with some sports, get you in with a breaking event, and then sell you shit or sell you ideology. They're for sale. That ideology, I mean, they were paid to put that there. CNN is like the worst on the planet at it. This is not news. You're getting imagine you had a ticker tape of 4,800 academics every day. And somebody was picking out really good stuff out of that, breakthroughs in sciences, and say there was 20 or 30 major wow stuff, and there is, every friggin' day, that could impact our lives right away, but they're locked away in your ivory towers. And you can rent them for 24 hours or 28 hours and read it. You're not allowed to get a copy of it. You got to pay a lot of money. But go to Fox News or go to CNN or go BBC or CBC or all the other stupid, idiotic PR machines out there. They can't tell a different story because then you got a fight going on in TV land. All TV has to tell you the same story. And so that's where documentaries come in, where they tell you slightly different versions of the exact same fucking story because they need to change it. See? And then they can all start, oh, well, there was this documentary. Right? Yeah, looks like we were wrong about that one, but they'll never mention that again. They'll just introduce the faithful. The worst thing on the planet, the most disgusting thing on the planet, is these celebrities in media. These are fucking scum. These are dirtbags. I would move if I had anything like that living in my neighborhood. It's just bad. These are fucking, they bring bad people around. They got terrible fucking ethics. They will run over you because you might spoil their image and take off and leave you dead in a ditch because nobody's seen it. And that'd be a bad image. Hit somebody when he was high on fucking crack and coke. Because you can go in any of these media outfits and they got the smoke rooms, the toke rooms, the horror rooms, the prostitution rooms, and there's male prostitutes too, don't get me wrong. They're the worst of society. They're the scum. They got more skeletons in the closet to get to where they are than most presidents. These are fucking vicious, backstabbing lawyers who are out there telling you it's equal to bananas and they don't even bother checking. But if they want to fuck you over, they wouldn't be long fact checking and find a little link in your story and destroying you, using that over and over from 25 angles to bludgeon you with, to try to demonize you. I've had it done to me. I've had it friggin' done. I've had people use my voice for major radio show, comedy show, for over a year. To demonize me, to teach all the kiddies to hate that fucking voice. Still fucking doing it. But I've been attacked many times. I'm not going anywhere. I don't lie. I don't fabricate or make anything up. Just, how are you going to get anywhere doing stuff like that? What I do is I pick at the fuckers that are lying and making shit up. It's easier to tear them apart. What would be the sense of lying about something like this? Something so vital, so important, so unimaginably scary and frightening. Now, these models are based upon a single release from Fukushima, from a single reactor. You got 3 melter reactors. 3. And you got a 4-1 that detonated and caught fire twice in the fuel pool. Fuel pool is just as scary as any reactor out there. That's what it is. It's the same as the reactor. It can go in a chain reaction just sitting there. The fuel pools are just as fucking scary as a chain reaction, full running nuclear reactor. And the thing about the nuclear reactor, it's boiling 1 million gallons of water a minute. So you're killing all the phytoplankton and all the creatures in that water. 1 million. But you're going to walk on the beach and they'll fucking attack you, drag you in a court, cost you a fortune. You're the bad person. Got to demonize you, protect the monster. You can't do it anymore. You can't keep it up anymore. You're just fucking your own children, your own friends, your own families, your own loved ones, and everybody around you and everything you ever cared about by ignoring it and continuing to let this go on unabated without bringing the international community in and replacing the homeless at Fukushima. People who can't read or fucking write. At least put people there that can read or write. Is that asking too fucking much? Al-Qaeda's just got to dress up as a homeless person and hang out downtown, and he's going to get jacked, shanghaied by the fucking ghouls from Yakuza's, the mob, and put up on that site and forced to do unthinkable things. At Chernobyl, they went out on the roof for 15, 20 seconds, went home, never went on a nuclear site again. 600,000 military conscripted to go to work on Chernobyl, which is 28th anniversary yesterday, and they're shanghaiing the homeless, the mentally retarded, the illiterates, the migrant workers, the vulnerables, underage. Do you think this is going to get fucking better? It's non-stop hemorrhaging into the ocean. If you can switch everything off that happened right now, you got to fucking deal with this creature we're creating in the ocean. You're going to kill all the oxygen ability of the ocean, and you're going to kill the very basis of the food chain. Because all of this stuff, as it rains out and is going into the St. Paddy's Day, the endless St. Paddy's Day into that fucking ocean, is picked up in rains and dropped down. The phytoplankton, which are the basis of the food chain of the ocean, hang out at the surface. And if the nucleides, and a small percentage of it will sink, that comes back up with the cycle of the ocean. The nutrients are brought up with the cold water off the floor of the ocean, and that means these particles that are much smaller are not going to, like if you got a bunch of jelly beans in different size, and the small ones are going to end up on top, the light ones, right? And that's what we're talking about here. I worked 14 years on the ocean floor, 6 hours a day, 2 marathons a day on the human body. I ate 4 plates of food a day like that. I kid you not. To put out that energy. And you couldn't do that the first year, of course. You had to build up to that. Just pure madness. And you must become one with the fish. And you really truly did. You had to work just like a fish. How a fish would work underwater, you had to learn to live like a fish. See, a lot of fish are habitual. They just do certain things. And so some fish will sit there and they'll swim against the tide for 5 hours, right in the one spot. They'll sit over to one fucking spot and they'll sit there like that for 5 hours. When the tide stops, they'll fuck off for half an hour, 40 minutes, go feed. I watched it all the time, my whole life, basically. But for 14 years in both oceans, non-stop. I ran the biggest operations in North America. Multi-billion, I should say, rather. Millions is a week, is nothing, just on our end. The other end was billions, it was the sushi industry. We done that for 14 years. We developed it and everything else. And I know the ocean, because I grew up in a place that still has no cars. That's all I know is the ocean. And so when I, heard that the ocean is broken, about sailors, the Australian Herald, talking about interviewing sailors, veteran sailors, esteemed sailors, and said for 3,000 miles, they didn't see a friggin' creature or a bird. That got my attention. Woo? That made me go that a little bit deeper. And oh my goodness, it never stopped. It never stopped. So, I brainstormed the implications of it. And I realized, they're just going to keep telling us lies if we don't build up some kind of resistance. So that's, I've been blogging for probably, a month at that point. And then it struck me that the only thing I could really contribute was to educate people. Just on an educational basis. So they can get past the bananas. Because Fukushima is coming out of there. And it's horrible. It's terrible. It's got nothing to do with the food, That's not radiation. And anybody who says that to you deserves a slap in the mouth. A big one. Knock some teeth out of their head. They are fucking animals. They are the worst that society has put forward. How they still got their academics is amazing because the only reason they got it is because where they got it encouraged that behavior. Encouraged the nuclear industry, the nuclear universities and academics encourage people to repeat these phrases. Oh, it's like a banana. Oh, it's no, but if you eat a banana, it's gone. Your body, boom. If you eat a banana with cesium in it, because of the 7,400 becquerels in your drinking water in North America of cesium-137, that's just been introduced by the Environmental Protection Agency that ain't protecting jack, never did, you're going to get a tumor, you're going to get an autoimmune deficiency response, your body is going to attack that, that's going to sequester into your organs, it's going to cause lesions to your organs, it's going to get into your bones, and it's not just cesium. These radioactive isotopes don't travel alone. You think the fucking laws of physics don't apply to radioactive, man-made radioactive isotopes? Forget about that one, right? Never bothered telling you that it can't travel by itself. If there's cesium, you gotta have its other daughters. There's gonna be 30 times more strontium because you were using MOX fuel. You had 3 100% melted reactors and detonations and missing fuel pools, melted fuel pools, on fire fuel pools. You had 14 reactors having heart attacks down there. You only hear of 4. 5 and 6 is fucked at Fukushima too. The basements were cracked and they filled up with extraordinary radioactive waters. All the buildings have. And they pumped that in on top of the reactors. In on top of these melted reactors. And you can see the carnage. That's building 3 to your left. My left. Sorry. And the one that's got a bit of shiny shit left on it is Unit 4. Well, by spraying those radioactive water from all the other buildings on that site, you created the urethol peroxide sulfur event, is the only way I can describe it. And these buckyballs, hot radioactive particles and elements are a huge fucking part of this issue because they're very mobile. These buildings kept filling up with water. They kept spraying it out. This is not like a one-day event. This went on for a long friggin' time. And so the ocean is in desperate mode, right? And we're stuck with the lawyers. And this study You'll find a link below about that study, okay? You got to remember that these detonations, they went all over that site. They put fuel rods and the cores themselves, particularly number 3, which was max fuel, which is 2 million times worse than any other reactor. And they're using missiles taken out of silos that have been sitting there for 30 or 40 years, and then putting them through the chain reaction again, which is the worst thing imaginable. And then that's why they got all the fuel pools above it, because when they cool down in 5 or 10 or 15 years, the stuff then they're going to put it back in. And each time you're changing the gammas, the betas, the alphas, the x-rays, and the neutrons. Every friggin' time. So once again, let's cliche it. Cliche, and let me get a big picture because I know some people don't like that. Picture in lower left, is that the one? And then jump to that. There we go. So, and I'll change all these pictures around and get them all down to the lower left, because when I sat here I was like, oops, I got them on the lower right. If I'm going to go big picture, because big pictures are okay. I kind of like the small picture. I don't want a big picture. I don't even want to be doing this, okay? I fucking don't. But I got no choice but to try to come out and be more articulate and reach a bigger audience and encourage people to do the same thing. Right? To just take something you're good at, put together a minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute presentation, 1 hour, whatever, and jam it out there. And don't worry if you don't get any views. Don't worry. Watch it, see what you could do better next time, then do better. And stick it out there. And you don't know how many people are going to upload that and load it somewhere else. You got no idea. You might get 5 views and all 5 of them re-uploaded somewhere else and they all went off and done fantastic and you can't find them because they done the right thing by changing the names and changing and sticking it out there under different titles and different, so there's all these different, it shows up differently for everybody. So if 10 people uploads that video, they should have 10 different titles and 10 different keywords and try to slip it out there in different venues. Go after, put popular radio host names down in the bottom of it. A lot of these got PR and egos and everything else, are concerned and are actually paying attention, and will find it quicker. And then they can get some information that they didn't have access through. You got to realize they have their experts, and their experts, right? That's what they go to for everything, and they're not allowed to go outside of those boundaries, so to speak. And they're so used to that, they're so acclimated to it, they don't. But they do check out this kind of stuff, and you can reach them. You can reach anybody like that. They're more vulnerable to information if you can get them outside of their paradigm, their little. Okay, so let's put it in perspective. On St. Paddy's Day, some communities pour dye into a river to temporarily change the color of the river. Well, what would happen if you poured 1,000 pounds of dye a day, every day, a minute? That didn't lose its color for hundreds and thousands of years in a 5,000-mile river. Every minute, 1,440 minutes a day, 1,134 days. Then you got in a plane, you flew down that 500-mile river to see where the dye went. And how far down that 5,000-mile river would you have to go before you do not find the rivers, estuaries and lakes and ponds and everything else that are not affected by that dye, right? So the dye goes down, it fills up all the estuaries, the rain picks it up, delivers it over to the community. It's the dye that sticks, it doesn't solute into the water, it holds its intensity for thousands of years like radiation, and it's radioactive. Then would you get it? So what you got to do is you got to get some distance between the nuclear creatures and yourself. Do not, I repeat, do not crouch down to the same heights of the nuclear creatures. Let me get something else here. Another picture up before we start that one. So you don't want to get down to the same heights of the nuclear apologists and creatures. Make yourself look taller, as they can attack without provocation. And slowly back away as the nuclear critters are notorious for attacking your back. Under no circumstances should you make direct eye contact with the nuclear critters. Look just above their hairline, say about here, because they can control your mind with their eyes and make you say stupid, unsubstantiated gibberish, like you will get more radiation from a banana than you will from Fukushima or from WHIP. Or anywhere on Earth. Even if you stood in the middle of Fukushima, the military-industrial complex is directed energy weapons isotope production facility, because the directed energy weapons, your future lasers, your cool radical lasers, can't exist without her hideous, unimaginable, dangerous, and carcinogenic, and just hideous radioactive isotopes. So if you get these laser weapons on the fields, they get blown up, you're going to have radioactive fallout, dirty bombs. One huge, big, dirty bomb. I mean, you're firing 2.5 million bombs, dirty bombs, a month in Iraq. Out of the 5 million bullets a month, half of them were from McAllister's bomb manufacturer, McAllister, Oklahoma. Okay, if it's been said that if you sprinkle holy water on a nuclear scientist, they got to tell you the truth for the next 3 minutes. Don't use a water pistol because they'll be able to shoot you. Even though it is not recommended you get that close because of the nuclear verbal diarrhea, according to the nuclear critters, 7,400 becquerels a cubic meter of cesium-137 is now an EPA standard in your drinking water. And after all, you get 7,500 becquerels of potassium-40 in a glass of drinking water, so it's okay. No, it's not. And anyone who says anything different is an alarmist and is just fear-mongering. Besides, all that ionized man-made uranium-238 will decay in 4.5 billion years. So have a banana. And because all nuclear scientists got everything under control, you can just go back to Fox and CNN and MSNBC and listen to the bickering and the ninnying and enjoy your life. Right? Well, it sounds like that's my cue anyway. Is to tell you the truth, let you make you realize how unorthodox it might be. There's a lot going on out there that I could cover, but this is the most important thing ever. I can go down the rabbit hole on an amazing amount of subjects, and I have, but I can't anymore. Because the lawyers need a counter. And one way or another, I'm having my way. I don't care. And I know from experience I'll get my own way if I keep pushing hard enough. Let me hit you a couple of headlines. Fox Business. Leading pro-nuclear scientist admits our nuclear plants are dangerous and error-prone. You go look at my Nuclear Earth series. I still got 2 more to go. I got like 4 or 5 series in there. Talking about all the accidents throughout history, all the experiments throughout history, on humans, on pregnant women, on hundreds of pregnant women who go in the hospital and get injected with radioactive isotopes, and then they dig them up after they die. They dig up the babies after they die to check to see how the radiation killed them. These people are demented. Dr. Raymond Gilmedy, just one of many, only on beagles, not counting all the other animals and puppies and dogs and everything else, kills tens of thousands over the last couple of decades at Loveless, nice name, in New Mexico. Right? They take beagles and they inject them, they make them inhale radioactive plutonium-238, 239, and sometimes you kill them as little as 5 or 10 days and autopsy them. Or they'll let them live their lifespan after doing that is usually 3 to 5 years. And serious cancers, tumors. They die of serious cancers and tumors. They let them just die of cancers in agony. They're not giving them nothing, because it'll contaminate the test result. They're not giving them painkillers. They're not giving them antibiotics to help them ease their suffering. They're letting them fucking suffer. They have no morals, no ethics whatsoever. They're doing it for a buck. But that's the kind of industry that nuclear propagates. They're doing that on every animal out there. There's laboratory after laboratory after laboratory after laboratory out there for the nuclear industry destroying life. And they really done it this time at Fukushima, right? Radiation, man-made radiation, got nothing to do with fucking beer and steaks, bananas, potatoes, or drinking water or anything else. Well, it does now, thanks to Fukushima. But you got to get your act together. You got to spread this kind of information, and you got to get back in their faces. You got to challenge them. When you read a story just came out and you don't have an account or an email with that, you got to create one and go in and slam them so people that are reading that have another fucking narrative. It's that simple. You take it all away from them. You take their thunder. The first comment there goes their thunder. There goes their laws. Because people like, what? I got another option? Gee, I don't know. Could that be true? Most people are really fucking clever. You give them the right information and you present it in a reasonable format, they'll fucking get it real fast. You can wake somebody up. And that's what we're trying to do, inspire somebody. The golden child who will wake up this planet in a right way, in a proper way. So we get all the toxins and dioxins out of the genetically modified creatures that are in your supermarkets. Your whole supermarket, your corner shops are completely genetically modified creatures. And everything else got their product sprayed on it. That's in a supermarket. Unless you go buy it off the farmer himself. Because when they buy it, they spray dioxins and everything else on it. Even though they're banned. Oh, but it's okay because it's Monsanto. The thing about Monsanto, it sprayed Agent Orange over an entire friggin' country and Americans, soldiers, for 9 years out of planes. Chemtrail the sky for 9 years. Hey, but chemtrails don't exist. By the way, chemtrails, in my opinion, are to take the radiation out of the sky. Before it gets out of... They want this to go a certain way. They have so many releases. And that makes sense. That's how they're getting away with it. Because otherwise you would have a big massive die-off if they weren't stopping these particles from inundating you. The clouds, right? You creating all these clouds, that actually helps stop, aggregates them, right? Attracts them, because electrically charged. So the regions, that's why they spray that over Chernobyl and other places, because it grabs onto the radioactive particles, the hot particles, and weighs them back down. Boings. And there's a lot of credible, it's a credible way. And that's what you would normally do. Every country has that as a backup plan. If you got radioactive fallout, you chemtrail the skies and knock it out of the sky. So you can minimize it. That's the backup for every friggin' country on the planet. One of their mitigation factors of a nuclear fallout, a nuclear disaster, a nuclear accident. Where's the protocol? The protocol is get on planes, spray regions, and knock it out of the fucking sky and minimize it a bit. But they've been doing it so long, so much, 2.5 million rounds a month, dumping 45-gallon drums in the ocean. They got Hanford at 450 billion liter gallons. I'll get the ones dumped directly into the soil, hemorrhaging everywhere. So it's not hard to postulate that the chemtrailing been going on for many decades is a direct result of nuclear production, nuclear accidents, and we have a lot of nuclear accidents you don't know jack shit about unless you're paying attention. There's massive, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of major releases. They got 41 miles of open pits just in Hanford. Yellow cake. You're not talking about China, not about India, not talking about Pakistan. We're not talking about all the nuclear testing in the environment and the releases into the community and the propagations of those radionuclides. You're not talking about how in New Mexico, when you detonated those bombs, 40 or 50 a year, all that radioactive fallout, think about all the fissionable product that bonded with the floor, with the desert. Do you think that's going to stop putting out neutrons and gammas and alphas and betas and x-rays? Yeah, there you go. Whatever. We made a show. Who knows how bad this one came out. Compared to last night, it can't be as bad. So, last night was brutal. Last night was fucking brutal stream. audio. The audio didn't sound too bad this time, I guess. I'm hoping, because if it is, then I'm not going to use the program no more. If I can't get a decent audio, then fuck it. How long did I go for this time before I finally gave it up? Gave it up. Stuttering in my ear. Finally gave it up. Finally gave it up. Hour and 8 minutes. Time for me to give it up. Okay, folks, I apologize. It's just because the last couple of nights I couldn't get a good stream and I had to get it off my chest, I suppose. Now this stream is not even. I'll come in and say goodnight to everybody. Good day to everybody. I might be back tonight, who knows. My cigarette got no filter and it doesn't have 4,000 chemicals. Nah. There you go. So that came out. They're still rolling, still streaming, still chugging along. You gotta lick those iPhone chargers and go back to sleep. That's what you gotta do. Ignore the Fukushima and it'll all be okay. They'll fix it when they get around to it in a couple of thousand years, right? Wrong. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna push back right now. We'll catch you folks tomorrow night. Fix is stupid. Sergeant, stream is perfect. Well, that's good news. I'll try it again. That case then. That's good to hear. Thanks nuts for art. Newt Lunar. Everybody, like I say, when I get back this afternoon, I'll sit here and read the comments. I just wanted to get a stream out. Looks like I've been spoofed. The end of the video out is that looks like you have been spoofed. To use it, I'll go look for it. I guess I don't care. Real Night Writer, Sir Albert. Fix is stupid. Just all checking on the live streaming. Candace, thank you. Okay, folks, looks good. Hour and 10 minutes. Went for broke today. Went on a rant and a rave, and we'll catch you folks. Catch you folks on the next round. Like you say, you needed something out there to redeem the last couple of bad audios. Hopefully this one is okay. I'll come back and analyze it when I get back. Nuts for Art. Sergeant says it sounds great. That's close enough for me. I'll come listen anyway and see if I can tweet anything to make it a little tiny bit better. But I'm really happy that at least it came out. Right, without the big... I got rid of all the audios and the videos out of the player. Cleansed it. Resaved it under a new file. Got rid of the old file. So it just got that one file and it doesn't have anything on it. And we'll catch you folks tomorrow night. Grey Rose Tint. Nuts for Art. Candace. Fix It. Re-Rams. Now. 573. Megan Rice. Hugs. Lunar. MSVS. Re-Ram. Yeah, you too, MSVS. We'll catch you folks. Won't be tonight, but it'll be tomorrow. I might do a little documentary night on the background about this, but we'll see. Because it's looking like it's going to be sunshine. Woohoo. Take care. Oh. Google loves you. He wants to do an encore. Google wants an encore. Hang on. Come on, Google. Little encore. Lick that iPhone charger. Kill that. Nicotina. It broke down about another pack. Couldn't live without it. I don't smoke very much, so. It's got no chemicals and no filters, so it's all good. You should try it. Take care, folks.